Hello and welcome to Retire Rich, Tales of Financial Freedom podcast with your host, Marc Hernandez. I'm your producer, RJ Malik. And Marc, it's good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a while, so it's nice to see you.
Yeah, RJ, it's great to see you. We've had various podcasts with my associate, Carlos Lopez, and his special guest stars. And today I'm glad that we can get together because I want to discuss a topic, and it might be, I don't want to say it's a downer type of topic, but it's a topic that's very relevant to me and my clientele at this time. We're going to talk about what happens when your spouse or your partner passes away. I've been in this business almost 40 years, and I've been very fortunate that my clients are healthy and doing very well. But the thing is, this year we've run into a little bit of misfortune in that we've lost several clients this year, and these are some of the conversations we're having with them, and I just want to share that with the public, so that way make them aware, and hopefully they'll properly plan to make sure that if that arises in their household or with their family, that they'll be properly prepared.
It's important to be prepared, and I can speak from personal experience. My dad passed away 3 years ago at the age of 87, so he lived a very long and healthy life, and it was his time. But fortunately for us, we were prepared, or he prepared, and so it was a process that was, for a lack of better wording, it went as easy and as smooth as possible. So this is very important to be discussing this topic.
Well, what I find is that many people are not prepared. I mean, if the passing happens suddenly, of course, it's something that you can't, you don't anticipate. But
right.
even if they were ill for some time, or maybe they went into hospice, they still weren't prepared because emotionally they're dealing with trying to support their loved one, trying to be there to help them. And sometimes they don't have the time to do what needs to be done. So we just want to kind of walk you through maybe a little bit of a checklist of what you should be doing and what you can expect when that time comes. And the first thing is, hopefully they're properly prepared by having a will. Hopefully they have a will, or they've had their final wishes, written down for their loved ones to follow. And in most cases, again, we find with our clients, a lot of them did not have a will or were not prepared. So the first thing we want or recommend our clients to do is if they do have a will, make sure you bring out the will, see what type of final wishes their loved one wanted. Are they going to be buried? Are they going to have a funeral, a viewing? Or they just want to be cremated? But if they're going to be cremated, do they want to still have some type of formal presentation where their loved ones and friends can gather and pay their respects? So, I mean, the first thing is it's going this time, like you said, your father passed away. My mother passed away a year ago in August, and it was sudden. But my siblings, my family, we worked together. We even had comments from the funeral director that he'd never seen anyone family work together the way we did to plan and execute, and everything went well. But again, the thing is that we made those decisions. Hopefully, the decision been made to make it easier on the partner or the surviving spouse, and hopefully they have family that will be there to guide them through this process, because it is very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult at this time.
It is. Communication is extremely important. I was fortunate. My dad communicated with myself, my sister, and my two brothers. So the four of us, the four kids, we're on the same page. We know exactly how how he wanted things to go. Obviously everything went to my mom. So, when my mom finally passes away, we know exactly what will happen. And because we've seen within family, aunts, uncles uh, have issues and break families apart where, cousins aren't talking to each other anymore because of not being prepared and people feeling jilted or, left out of something. So, yeah, you're right. Communication and planning is the key.
Well, since you brought that up, the one thing I've seen, and it's crazy, I've seen infighting in families over family pictures. I mean, family pictures. It's so I recommend to mothers, fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers. If you have your wedding pictures or certain family pictures, make copies, distribute the copies, because that way you won't have. And what happens also is that if especially if it's a second parent to pass away, the first one's already passed away, then whoever gets in the house first, sometimes they get in there first and they have access to many things, and they'll take what they want and leave the other siblings in the lurch. So again, it sounds very petty, but it happens. It happens.
I experienced that with my grandmother and my mom's family, and it was nasty and it was mind boggling. And we're not talking about a lot of money. It's not like my family is wealthy. We have, not, we have some money, but my grandmother wasn't really wealthy. But my aunt and my uncle just really, it was not a good scene. It really wasn't, and it broke the family apart.
Well, we try to make recommendations to try to make sure that that doesn't happen. The first step is that we recommend is, especially after the services and in working with the funeral home or the funeral director, get at least 10 to 15 certified copies of the death certificate. You don't realize how many places that when you start, as we go through this process, and I kind of walk you through this checklist, as we go through this, everybody's going to need a certified copy of the death certificate to prove that this person is deceased. Okay. So the funeral director can help you with that. Sometimes people say, "Oh, just give me 5 or give me 3," because it's a cost. There's a cost. It's not a major cost, but there is a cost. They think they can get away with that. No, get at least 10 to 15. That'll ensure that you've got plenty, because these what I'm going to recommend is not in any really particular order of importance. It's just that these places need to be notified, and you need to take some steps to make sure that the process goes smoothly. Okay. First thing, one of the things you're going to do is you're going to contact the Social Security office. Okay. Most of my clients that have passed recently, they were already receiving Social Security and on Medicare. So you want to make sure that you notify the Social Security office of your partner or your spouse's passing. Because what happens is that, of course, your Social Security check is direct deposited. So they're not going to know. And I will tell you this, I've had clients say, "Hey, well, if I don't tell them for a year or so, do you think, because I really need the money, I really need them." No, you better tell them right away, because if you are getting extra checks after the date of death or months, they're going to expect you to repay it. Okay.
Hmm.
And they could put, stop on, if you're getting Social Security, they could do something to garnish your Social Security. And I'll tell you one thing, this has happened to clients in the past, that if there's some mistakes made at the Social Security office or any government agency, it takes a lot of work and a lot of time to repair it. So if something happens and you turn off the faucet where you're not, that, and they start hitting you up for back payments or something, it could be you could have a negative reaction on your situation. So contact the Social Security Administration, let them know. They're going to want to know the date of death. Everybody's going to want to know the date of death. Okay. They don't need to know what they passed away from, but they want to know the date of death, because then they'll make adjustments accordingly, and they will tell you what you need to do, because a surviving spouse may have survivor benefits in that if your surviving spouse's Social Security was higher than yours, then they could make an adjustment to your Social Security. If your Social Security is higher than theirs, you'll probably just stay with what you were receiving.
Okay. Then what is the next step after that?
Well, what you want to do is notify your spouse's current employer, obviously, if they're working. Okay.
Right.
I'm sure I'm sure everybody would know. They're going to know that you passed, but you got to officially notify the personnel department, so that way they will, again, do the same thing. They will stop direct deposit paychecks or paychecks. Also, if you were retired, you want to notify previous employers, because you may have benefits there that will be triggered at death. Okay. Could be life insurance. Maybe they had a 401k there or some type of retirement there. Maybe they had a defined benefit plan, a pension plan there that had not been triggered or started yet. So you need to make sure that you contact all your employer or even previous employers. And it could be employers, not just, they might have worked at several different places. So you need to make sure that you contact all of them to notify them of your spouse or partner's passing.
Okay. Is there anybody else you need to contact?
Oh, well, if they were a veteran, you need to contact the Veterans Administration or the VA. Notify them, especially if they were receiving disability payments. I can tell you this, a lot of our clients that are veterans, they're getting very substantial disability checks. I mean, a lot of them from, I have no World War II veteran clients anymore. They've all since passed away. So what has happened is, and then Vietnam era or Korean era veterans, a lot of them have passed away. So what the clients that I do still have some Vietnam era veterans that are receiving benefits. But what we've seen is that maybe they might have been on 40% disability, 30% disability. But RJ, what I'm seeing is that a lot of our veterans, from Iraqi freedom, from the recent wars, Afghanistan, they're getting 100% disability. So there's a lot of money that's been freed up for disbursement to veterans, which is fantastic. And so they're getting substantial checks. A lot of them, even if they're receiving Social Security, even if they're getting a pension, I'm seeing their disability checks are the highest that they're receiving. So the surviving spouse must notify them. And in many cases, I'm sure that they're going to continue to receive some benefit, but they must notify them, because that way any adjustment or even termination will be done at that time. And also, a lot of our veterans, a lot of their health care and a lot of their health benefits for hearing aids, dental visits, for glasses, corrective lenses, those were all provided through the VA. So those benefits will cease.
Okay. And now you're done with, the passing and maybe a funeral or whatever services you have. What is the next step after that?
Well, when you get your certified death certificates, of course, you need to start filing claims. Okay. First off, if your loved one had life insurance. So, of course, you would have notified the life insurance carrier. Of course, go. And if you're not aware of them having any life insurance, then you better go through all of their paperwork. And I can tell you this, I've had clients bring me stacks of paperwork from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and we get on the phone. We start calling every company to find out if that policy is active. Okay, many times they cashed them out or they transferred it to something else. So, but it's good to cross that off of the checklist. Okay, check every single thing on there. Now, the next, of course, one of the first steps they're going to do also is they're going to go to the bank. Okay, now the bank is a wealth of information to find out of if they had life insurance or what type of programs they had benefits, because they're more than likely they've been paying it through the bank, through a bank draft, some kind of bank draft. So they've been paying it through the bank. So immediately you go, now let's say you have a spouse, they're on a joint checking account, joint savings accounts. That's fine. That's fine. They're not going to be frozen out. They're going to have immediate access to that information. I'm sure they probably even know that information. But even though they are joint, you need to take the death certificate to have your deceased spouse or partner removed from the account. Okay. You don't want to continue on with a joint bank account with, somebody's name on there that no longer exists. It's confusing. It could cause issues, and it could cause issues in the future for your heirs. And we'll talk about that here in a second. What would happen is that if you still had them on there and then you passed away and they show, oh, well, this is a joint account. What happened to this person? Oh, they died years ago. We don't have any proof of that. We don't know. Now, you need to bring us a certified copy of the death certificate. Now they got to go to a lot of time and expense, to produce another certificate and go take it over there, including the one with their latest parent that passed away. So immediately get the account, put in the surviving spouse or partner's name, have them go through if they need any help with the bank or credit union or financial institution. Hey, what drafts are coming out of my parent's account, or what drafts are coming out of my account? Oh, you have this to this company or this company, this company. Then you want to call them, find out what it is, what they have, and then also notify them of the death. Okay, notify them and start. It might be start the claim process. Start the claim process to go ahead and get those assets. If there's life insurance, if it was some type of other type of program, if it's an annuity, you want to go ahead and find out what your options are as the beneficiary, what needs to be done. They will need a certified death certificate and a claim form filled out, like the life insurance company will, so they can do whatever your wishes are as a claimant.
And I take you would need to do this probably as soon as possible. You shouldn't wait at all. Am I correct?
Well, RJ, I'll tell you this. You need to go at the speed the surviving spouse or partner is ready to go.
Okay.
Sometimes they're not ready to deal with this situation. Sometimes they fall into depression, anxiety issues. If they're fortunate enough to have family that is that they trust, that they're surrounded by to help them. But I can tell you this: there's some clients that they're estranged from their kids, or they're estranged from their family to some degree. I've even had people make heirs and beneficiaries people that are not related to them, but that could be a friend, could be a neighbor, sometimes they're a provider. So it really depends. And if that's the case, then it really can complicate things in the claims process. And that's why you end up with money that ends up going to the state, because there's the after time dormant accounts. There's nothing that was ever done. They tried to reach out to the person, they had passed away. They weren't made aware. Nobody was made aware. And this money goes to the state. And sometimes there's substantial amounts that go to the state. So
You don't want that to happen.
no, you don't. But as I said, after you get those death certificates, go to the bank, update the accounts, contact the insurance companies or brokerage companies where they had investments. Let them know. Of course, they need to know the date of death. Let them know to send the claim forms to the heirs. Now, if you have a properly executed will, you have an executor. The executor
Right.
takes care of that. If they had a financial team, they had an attorney, they had a CPA or bookkeeper or accountant, they had a financial advisor, they're going to be up on all their accounts, and they're going to be able to help the survivors. So first thing is they might want to ask, are there any cards there on accountants, attorneys, financial advisors? Contact them. Oh, did so-and-so, the deceased, have an account with you? Or again, if the surviving spouse or partner, a lot of times they're working with the spouse or partner with these professionals, and they know who they are. So that makes it a lot easier for them. So, at the end, I'll probably say, make sure you have a good attorney, make sure you have a good CPA or accountant, make sure you have working with a financial advisor, because that streamlines this process and makes it very simple for them. But again, there many people in this country do not have somebody that they feel, or that they're working with a financial professional that they feel is their financial advisor, attorney, or accountant or CPA. So they have to do it themselves, or their family has to help them do that. So again, make sure that you gather this information. Now, one way, if you're starting from scratch, you don't even know where to start, is to contact the major credit bureaus. You have TransUnion, you have Experian, you have Equifax. You contact them, let them know that this person has passed away. You have a certified copy of death certificate. You're sending it to them. You want a credit report. You're getting a credit report on this person. It's going to tell you their credit card information. It's going to tell you maybe things that they've bought recently or in the past. You're going to be able to create a list of people you need to notify to let them know that they have passed. And it's very important to notify all of the creditors, because that way they can freeze and stop credit in that person's name. So that way you don't have, and oh boy, you got to watch out. You might have unscrupulous kids, family members that go, hey, so-and-so died, dad died. I'm going to go, use his credit card. I'm going to go use this. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to get credit in his name. Oh my gosh. We had a situation in our family where we had someone who divorced a family member and then started using his deceased father's info to live that life, to hide from the spouse. So he didn't pay child support, alimony, and then debts. I mean, so make sure that you contact all the creditors, and if you don't know who they are, contact the major credit bureaus and get that information, and then start closing those accounts. Start closing those accounts. And now we've even had situations where your spouse or partner had other accounts that were undisclosed to you. Okay. It's kind of sad to find out that sometimes they're living another life in some degree. I mean, I'm being honest with you. I mean,
it happens.
People are human beings. They have frailties, and you want to make sure that if there's anything in their name that you're aware of it. And that way you can make sure that they're made aware of it, and make sure that you close these accounts to ensure that no one can utilize that information to their ill-used benefit.
My wife has a situation where a relative of hers, he had two families. And they didn't find out about each other until he passed, and it was a shock to everybody. But when you're talking about that, yeah, you just never know. Everyone was shocked because they didn't expect that, but it does happen.
RJ, I've been doing this 40 years. I've had situations where after somebody passes away, you found out about other children that
Mm,
that they had. You find out, like you said, about other families that they had, or
yes.
spouses, or whatever. So the thing is that the responsible surviving spouse and partner, they need to make sure that they follow all leads, close out all accounts, do everything to make their life simpler. Okay,
Okay.
and
What's
again, and we brought this up before, but it starts with having a valid will in the state that you live in. Make sure the wishes that you have for your final, like your final resting place, or cremation, or whatever you want, your wishes, the wishes you want are carried out. And also, make sure that all accounts that you have are listed, that you have them, because it's just going to make things simpler for the survivors. And again, get those adequate number of certified death certificates, because that's important. And then you got to make sure that you change the titles to homes and deeds, properties that you have, and then go to your insurance policies, your homeowner policies, your auto policies. Just go down the line and make sure that your who you have your auto and homeowners with is notified. Again, get certified copies of death certificate, have them removed. That'll probably, especially on the auto, probably reduce your premiums, because now you have less drivers. And also on the homeowners, notify them. So these are steps, and these are conversations that we have and been having with our clients who have lost a loved one, to help them. And also, as a hopefully they have the financial advisor, the accountant, the attorney. We have information. We have all of this information now. I find that I'm not the only financial advisor sometimes. Even though we think, oh, well, I've been managing this client's money for years. I have life insurance with them. I have this and everything with them. No, sometimes, you find that, the next thing is, oh, hey, do you know, my dad had this life insurance, or he had this brokerage account, or he had this annuity. I have this. Do you have that information? No, I don't.
hmm.
It's with somebody else. And I don't, you know who it is? Well, it's very easy. We went, and here's the thing. We don't have to use the other advisor. If we have the information, if they have that information, we can call the 1-800 number for them, customer service. We can help them maneuver the situation and find out what they have them order the claim form, and help them. So it's no problem to
Okay.
do that. So, but be aware that sometimes, and I don't get my feelings hurt, okay? Because that's no problem. You think, oh, why didn't you have everything with me? How come I didn't? No, don't. We don't worry about that. What we want to make sure is that this transition of losing a loved one, and to help them maneuver these, navigate these waters, to make sure that everything is done the way they want it to be done. Make sure the claims are done. Make sure everything is filed, and make sure that nothing ends up going to the state. Okay,
Yeah.
make sure
Yeah.
that nothing, make sure that everything is handled properly. So
Excellent.
this is pretty much our checklist that we go through. There could be other things that pop up. The main thing is, I think, a key, and this is something most people don't think about, is get the credit union, get the credit bureau reports. Get that. Go to the bank and get all the information. Get all the information, because you will be able to make sure that you don't leave any stone unturned, and that you'll be able to properly, properly close out their accounts, and change the accounts and change the names, everything properly. And then, of course, the will needs to be updated, because if it was a will, all to spouse will, we call it a living will. My wife gets everything. If I die, I get everything if she dies. Oh, and then here are the kids. We name our heirs for both of us at that point. Well, at that point, the surviving spouse needs to probably update the will and needs to probably make adjustments to the will, make sure you go on all these accounts, change beneficiaries, change, we call PODs, paid upon death, at your bank account. So there's a lot of things that need to be done. And again, with proper help, it's easier to do it. But my experience is sometimes people don't want to do anything right away because they're just traumatized. Their heart is broken, and you give them all the time in the world. But I will tell you this, in some cases, you need to do something within 12 months. Okay. Because a lot of the accounts, especially, annuities or life insurance or whatever, they a lot of times there could be some issues if you wait too long. So, but usually after a few months, the surviving spouse or partner usually is ready to deal with these issues.
All right. Very good, Mark. How about a way that people can contact you? What's the best way, I should say?
Well, the best way to contact us is, first, you can go to our website. First, you got Marc, M-A-R-C, at mahfinancial.biz, or you can go to www.mahfinancial.biz, or you can call our office number, area code 956-994-0407, and we'd be happy to help you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mark. And we're looking forward to your next podcast. And thank you for listening to today's Retire Rich Tales of Financial Freedom podcast. Please like, follow, and share this podcast with friends and family. Until next time, for Mark, I'm R.J. Malik.
Thank you for listening to Retire Rich Tales of Financial Freedom. Have questions about topics covered during the show? Visit our website at www.mahfinancial.biz or give us a call at 956-994-0407. Don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Investment advisory services and financial planning services are offered through Simplicity Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of the firm, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Insurance, consulting, and education services offered through M.A.H. Financial. M.A.H. Financial is an unaffiliated entity from Simplicity Wealth. Clicking the like button does not constitute a testimonial for or an endorsement of our investment advisory firm, any associated person, or our services. Clicking the like button is merely a mechanism to circulate our page. Like is not meant in the traditional sense. In addition, postings to our page must refrain from recommending us or providing testimonials for our investment advisory firm. Because the SEC and state securities regulators generally prohibit testimonials, any such postings are subject to swift removal.
The views expressed herein reflect the views of Marc Hernandez and Carlos Lopez as of the date referenced. These views may change as conditions change. The views expressed herein are not intended and should not be construed as investment advice, and they do not address any individual's specific situation.